Hey guys, it's Jen, and today I wanted to share with you this year's Holy Grails, my favorite products from makeup, skincare, anything sort of beauty related. I actually just got done watching last year's video to make sure I wasn't overlapping way too much, but I feel like I whittled down the list to being pretty concise this year. If you guys are new to my channel, I do lots of videos like tutorials, lots of product reviews, lots of things regarding beauty. Been around on YouTube for almost 15 years now. So I have a lot of that kind of content on my channel. If you're into that yourself, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to check out my future videos. For now, let's go ahead and get on with the best products from 2022. First of all, I wanted to start off with an eyeshadow palette that I have just used pretty much the entire year. It's basically my #1 go-to neutral palette. I've been really into sort of pinky neutral tones. I think I've just been very inspired by like Korean beauty kind of trends, and I like how sometimes when they do pretty Korean girl style, instead of just using like a really cool toned brown neutral, they'll use a little bit of peachy tones, sort of like what I did today. I did a little bit of a peachy shadow. So this has been one of my really favorite go-to palettes. It's by Patrick Tott's Major Dimension 2 palette. I really love this eyeshadow palette. There are 2 rows of shadows inside the palette. There's 2 creams on the side, which truthfully, I only use those occasionally, like if I'm really doing a very in-depth kind of look. But for most days when I'm just doing an everyday casual eyeshadow, I love how this palette is laid out because the bottom is all matte shades, the top is all shimmers, and that makes it really sort of logically easy to know what your plan is when you're doing an eyeshadow look. Plus, I feel like every single color has a color up here that is very well coordinating. You know, like if I want to do like a really dark matte, but then I'm like, ooh, I wanted a little more metallic, I can add that as a topper. But the matte colors are some of my favorite matte eyeshadow shades that I own right now. It's so easy to use, and I feel like they blend into each other really well as well. Some of the glitters have a little bit of that duochrome shimmer where it shifts from like hot orange to like a pink. It's like my favorite. It kind of makes my brain
stop working.
I'm just a huge fan of like anything that has a multi-dimensional shimmer. If you just have a little hint of it, it catches your eye and it looks a little bit interesting. Speaking of neutral eyeshadows, I wanted to talk about Natasha Denona. I really have become such a fan of Natasha Denona's eyeshadow formulas. Her matte eyeshadows just have a way of being so creamy and so velvety. It really applies almost like a cream, but it is just a powder. It literally is just eyeshadow, but it's so buttery, so blendable. It just is so pretty and just a really pleasure to work with. I have a large palette, but honestly, these little mini palettes have been such a go-to for me. I feel like they're so easy to grab. They really make it simplified, having every eyeshadow that you want to use in one sitting. And they're especially good if you want to like travel, but if you're a minimalist and you just want a few, but you still want them to be high quality, I feel like this is such a great alternative to a really giant palette. I believe these retail for around $25-ish, so it's not crazy like bleeding out the whole bank account, but it does have the same formula as the bigger palettes. So I actually have 2 different versions of the mini palette. This one is the mini Biba palette, which is a little more peachy, warmer toned, and then I also have a mini nude palette. I love both of them. Both of them have a really good layout for all of the different colors and textures that you might use on a normal, typical day. And I especially like this Biba one because the shimmery shade is really great for having like a nice pop in the middle of the eyelid or just like highlighting the inner corners. I also really like the darkest brown shade. I've been using a dark matte brown eyeshadow as sort of like a smoked out liner kind of look lately. So it's been a really nice like everyday neutral palette that is very simplified. The next palette I wanted to talk about is maybe one of my favorite things that I've bought the entire year. This is an eyeshadow palette from Danessa Myricks. I know she has a really big, very colorful palette that she came out with more recently, the Lightwork. I want to say it's the 4 palette that has like bright blues and everything. Knowing myself and knowing I am somebody that really is drawn to those duochrome eyeshadows more than any other category, I bought this Lightwork Volume 3 The Experience palette, which is a mini palette just with those duochrome shades. And I was so excited that I got my hands on this. I believe it's been like a little bit in and out of stock. I know you can get the bigger one, which does have the majority of the same eyeshadows in this kit plus other ones, but if you can find this smaller one, I don't necessarily wear like a bright blue on your typical normal day, but I will use my normal, neutral, everyday kind of look and then add like one pop of something interesting to it that I can still pull off on a day-to-day basis, but like it makes me feel extra special. And I feel like this palette makes it so easy. I just want to show you, like, all of these have some sort of special shift. The one I'm wearing on my eyes right now is this Strawberry Moon. It's like a frosty, pinky purple kind of shift. But then if I take this one right here, Gaia, it's a green, but then it also looks orange and pink when you shift it. It's so crazy. Like, I can't stop staring at my finger. I've used that one many times, especially over Christmas with the extra greens. This is also really great if you use it in a different way, like layered on top of a black eyeliner, so your eyeliner has that duochrome kind of effect. It's so pretty. I also wore a icy blue silk dress for my birthday, and I used this color down here, Martian, which is a light blue, but then it also has like a purple pink shift. So what you get is from the front, you get that light color, and then wrapping around the sides of your eye, it gets that deeper color. So it actually looks like you did a lot of contouring without actually having to do lots of contouring. But this is like, makes my brain just melt. It's so cool, so pretty, and just gives me so much inspiration. You know, it's been a couple of years since I've been really into a drugstore foundation, but I was recently on set filming videos with Target's YouTube channel, which if you want to check out some videos I did with them, I'll link those down below in case you're curious. But one of the foundations that I used on set and then just absolutely fell in love with since then is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless Fit Me Foundation. And the thing I was so crazy shocked about is this is actually a perfect match for my skin tone. Yes, it is called Fit Me because their whole thing is that they have a match for every single skin tone, but literally this is my perfect skin match. It's crazy. I use shade 128 Warm Nude. It's actually the foundation I'm wearing today. And one thing I really love about this foundation is it's very flattering on camera. I think it's because I've been more into like really glowy foundations for a while that I forgot just how beautiful a mattifying foundation can be. And I'm also like, I've been a little scared to use a matte foundation because as I'm getting older, I just don't want a foundation that's gonna really dry out my skin or make my fine lines show worse. But this one is kind of the opposite. Like it doesn't make my skin so matte that I look unhealthy or dry or anything, but it looks so perfected. It's like I already set it with powder. I did not use powder, and maybe that's the key. I just apply it and then it just matches and it makes my skin look flawless and I don't have to do anything extra. So if I can save a step, why not? I've been very pleased with this formula. I also feel like it looks nice as I wear it throughout the day. But the only thing is that if you do try to like add more on top, then it can get a little cakey. So once you put it on in the morning, just go for the rest of the day. Don't worry about your face. But I feel like in general, it's a very easygoing everyday foundation. I feel like it looks so good. So I can't wait to keep experimenting with this for the rest of the year and see if I still continue to love it as much as I do right now. But for now, I feel like it's a very easygoing, very easy to have full coverage but have it still look natural, and it doesn't feel heavy on the skin kind of foundation. The next product I wanted to talk about that I would say is my favorite foundation is actually a concealer from Rare Beauty. I've mentioned this several times throughout the last couple of years. It's funny because the first time I tried out this foundation in my very first Rare Beauty, when the collection first launched, I did a huge review of the entire collection. I wasn't totally sold on this concealer. I just didn't really totally know how to wear it, but it's since become my favorite thing to use instead of foundation. So I will just dot this where I need it and kind of blend it in, and I won't put on a foundation underneath it. The good thing about this concealer is that as I go throughout the day, it just looks really natural on my skin. It doesn't seem to break apart. It just looks like it's not even there, but it definitely had the coverage exactly where I wanted it. So if you want something where it really looks like just your skin is really flawless, then instead of going for a foundation light layer all over your face, next time try picking up the Rare Beauty concealer, spotting it where you need it, blending it in, and seeing how natural it looks. Because I promise you, for me, it was a total game changer. So I use shade 230N, and this has been repurchased many times. Just to warn you, I'm going to be talking about Rare Beauty a lot in this video. Some of their products have been some of my absolute favorites throughout the year. This next product is a blush. I feel like you guys have probably all already heard about this blush before. I just talked with a makeup artist yesterday who told me that this blush is the #1 selling blush in the world right now, which is just, it's crazy. And for good reason. It's the Rare Beauty liquid blush. They have a cream version, but truthfully, I'm not as huge a fan of cream blushes because they just don't last as long. And creamy formulas, like it just kind of like slides off my face. I don't know. But I like these liquid blushes, first of all, because they're very pigmented, and second of all, because once they dry down, they stay on all day. It's so impressive. So gotta give it up for that. One of my favorite shades is the color Hope. It's a very nice natural color, but it's pigmented enough that it'll show up on a large range of skin tones. So if you're anything near me, it'll definitely work. It could still work if you're lighter. It could still work if it's darker. It's a really good everyday neutrally pinky rosy color, like a little bit of a warm pinky neutral. One of my favorite ways of applying this is to mix this with concealer on the back of my hand and then putting this on my upper cheek area where I have some sunspots and freckling, and keeping the rest of my face pretty blank because it definitely gives that like your skin but better kind of look. It's like where you don't know if somebody's wearing makeup or not, but they just look like they're glowing from within, like they're just naturally blushing and pretty. It's so good. I think because it doesn't have that like dusty powdery look. It's funny, I just said I don't like cream blush, but I'm kind of the opposite when it comes to bronzer. The last couple years, I think I had been really into a powder bronzer because I could just really sculpt out my cheeks and fit it exactly where I wanted it to go, and it's not going to move all day. But in the last couple years, when I wanted to do a little more contouring but keep it looking very natural, like pretty much undetectable, plus also super easy, I almost prefer using one of these big like crayon sticks to just draw on where I need and then blending it in with my fingertips because it's so quick and easy and effective. This is by far my favorite method, especially if you want to contour your nose, because a lot of times with powders and a brush, the demarcation line is so wide. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but sometimes an eyeshadow brush just isn't as specifically sculpted. Like it's harder to blend it out. So I've really been liking the Rare Beauty bronzing sticks. This is in the color Power Boost, and I also have the color Happy Soul, which is slightly lighter. So both of them work with my skin tone. If you are a little bit fairer, I would go with Happy Soul. If you are my color or deeper, definitely try Power Boost. I believe they also have a darker tone if you are darker than that as well. But Power Boost is pretty much my go-to. It's a cream and it's super super creamy, but it just blends out in such a natural way. So I like putting this on my cheekbones and down my nose, and I can do a contour literally in like 15 seconds. It's so great. Next, I wanted to talk about a couple of eyeliners I've really been loving. First of all, I feel like I've been hopping around with liquid eyeliners, just trying to find one that gives me a sharp enough point, but then also dries down quick enough that if I am monolided or having a small crease day, if I blink, it doesn't transfer to my upper lid. I feel like for a lot of those of us who have hooded eyelids, you might understand the pain of like working so hard to do a perfect line and then you blink and it's like all the way up here and it's like, ah, it's waterproof. This is a really great option if you haven't tried it. I feel like it's my current favorite, but I also really loved this several years ago. So this is from Physicians Formula. This is the Eye Booster Waterproof Ultra Fine Liquid Eyeliner. I like the packaging. It looks like it has little water droplets all over it and it looks very classy and sleek. But then the actual brush itself, I think one of the reasons I've really liked it is because lately I've been using more of like a felt tip eyeliner, pen tip, but you guys may know, if you're an eyeliner pen girly, you might know that the felt tip ones, after you use them for a while, the tip kind of frizzes and you start to get little fibers, and then as it dries out, it really does not give you a sharp point. But this is actually a brush tip. So I feel like it gives you a really precise point for a lot longer than the felt tip version. My next eyeliner I wanted to talk about is from Patrick Ta. I don't think I hear about very many people talking about burgundy eyeliners, but it's just been a really big favorite of mine this year. I feel like it's a little bit spicier than doing like a dark brown or a black, but something about pencil eyeliners layered on top of a black, precise liquid cat eye, the double layering just does something for me. I think I need to do a tutorial on this. If you guys want to see a makeup tutorial of the double eyeliner technique, let me know it down in the comments. It works especially well if you're monolided because you don't get that black hole effect, but you still get that opened up feeling of having like a large eyeliner line that you can see when your eyes are open. Monolid girls, let me know you get what I'm talking about. I'm just having flashbacks of my college days where every monolid girl just did like a giant black hole, which was fine when they were looking forward, and then when they blink, it's like, ugh. We're trying to avoid that in 2023. I think I'm gonna do a tutorial. Let me know if you want to see that. Anyway, this has been one of my go-to eyeliners for that kind of effect if I want it to be even more precise than using a dark eyeshadow layered over the eyeliner wing. I like his pencils because they're really thin, and so I feel like I can get a lot of control and precision as I'm applying it, and it's not overly hard where it doesn't like draw a very good line. That's about the color. It's like a almost brown kind of burgundy. Very, very, very pretty. The shade is called Burgundy Precision Gel Liner. Next, I wanted to talk about my favorite eyebrow pencil. This is from NYX Cosmetics. It is in the shade Taupe, the micro brow pencil. I love this pencil because of course it has the two ends, the pencil on one side, the spoolie on the other. My favorite way to apply this is just filling in 7/8 of the brow and then just in the front using the spoolie to blend it out so it looks really natural. But I find that this color taupe is such a great match for my hair. And it's funny because you hear the name taupe and you think that would definitely not match somebody that has black hair and medium thick eyebrows. But I feel like the color is a really good ashy brown. It's not so brown that it comes across as brown, but it's brown enough and soft enough and light enough that it's not going to look like caterpillars on your eyes, which I think is a mistake many people new to makeup make. They just take an eyebrow pencil that is the same color as their hair, and then it looks a little wild. I say this in every video, okay? I'm a broken record. If you have an eyebrow color that you're looking for and you have dark hair, go 1 to 2 shades lighter than your hair color and it will be perfect for your eyebrows. If you have light hair, like if you're very blonde, go 1 to 2 shades darker for your eyebrows and then it'll all even out. The problem is if you were to take a black pencil and then put that on your eyebrows, it's going to be really harsh compared to the natural shade of your brows, because hairs might be that color, but hairs are really thin and they're spread apart. So the color that you get from far away is not going to be the same as like a solid block of your hair color. So go a little lighter if you have black hair. I promise you this is such a good shade if you have black hair. I'm wearing it today. I feel like it makes eyebrows so quick and easy and precise if you want to do them every day. Next, I wanted to talk about my favorite mascara of the year, and especially because this last year I really kind of took a step back from using false lashes. I felt like it was even more important for me to find mascaras that I really embraced, that really lifted and opened up my eyes. I'm happy to say it is another drugstore baby. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Full Fan Effect Waterproof Mascara. I really haven't heard very many people talking about this. The length it gives my lashes is really kind of shocking. It just really lengthens them and makes them look big and full, so much more than most mascaras I've tried. I do not naturally have long lashes. They point downward. I have to curl the crap out of them to be able to have them even be seen, but I feel like this has made such an impact on my eyes. In terms of mascaras, usually you either get something very waterproof that holds your lashes up very well, but then it's hard to remove, or you get something not as waterproof that might be really good at lengthening, but then your lashes just kind of fall down. This, I would say, is somewhere in the middle, where it does a decent job at holding up lashes. It is waterproof, so you do get some of that lash curling staying up, but the length it gives my lashes, like you can just see them. And when I've turned some of my girlfriends onto them, it's been really surprising how much it makes their lashes longer as well. By the end of the day, it's not going to hold my lashes quite as well as some of my super waterproof Japanese mascaras. However, it's really easy to remove as well. I've had a couple times where I was just like in a pinch and I did not use my double cleansing method to remove my makeup. I just used a regular face wash and it still removed like pretty easily without too much rubbing. So I feel like this is a good alternative if you have really stick straight lashes but you hate removing mascara at the end of the day. You should try this out because it's out of waterproof mascaras. It's a little bit easier to remove and it makes your lashes look super long. Next, I wanted to talk about my favorite lip product of the year. I really haven't used a lot of traditional lipsticks, but I still have been a huge fan of using lip liner, and this has been probably my top favorite everyday nude for my lips. So this is from Rare Beauty. The color is Humble. It's what I'm wearing on my lips today. It's the only thing I'm wearing on my lips today. So if you're looking for something that's a very natural, like everyday wearable pink, I feel like it's just like the perfect color. I love it because it's not overly pink, but it's definitely not brown. It brightens up my face, but just looks really neutral. Like it just looks nice. So when I use this and just overline slightly on my upper lips and even out my lower lip, it looks like my lips are so much more plumped up and youthful. The next product I wanted to talk about is a skincare product. This is my favorite cleanser that I've been using lately. This is from Good Light, which is a company by my good friend David E. The Cosmic Dew Water Cleanser. They sell this in Ulta. The reason I really love this cleanser is beyond typical cleansers where it's a really basic gel kind of formula. I feel like there's something about this that feels super hydrating as you're using it. So like after you cleanse your skin, my skin feels very juicy. Like, I don't want to say plump again. I've said plump way too many times in this video. But it just really makes your skin feel very plumped up and hydrated and healthy. And I don't get any of that overly dried, stripped kind of feeling. I kept this in my shower for a while. My husband used it as well. And he does tend to get very dry when he cleanses his skin. And he was like, what is that cleanser? Like, I really liked it. And I feel like for him to like go out of his way to talk to me about a skincare win for him is kind of a big deal. So David, congratulations. You made an amazing product. Oh, Oh, interesting. I just read the back and it says, if you want a skin soothing reset, apply to dry skin as a moisture mask for 2 to 3 minutes. So it looks like you can actually use this as a hydrating mask as well as a typical cleanser. So even more reason to try out this product. It is nice and makes your skin feel really nice and bouncy. So love this cleanser. For removing my makeup on an everyday basis, I have to say this is probably my #1 favorite oil cleanser I think I've ever tried. Like it's really been so impressive for me. This is Makeup Rewind by Crave Beauty. Leah, man, everything you make, I'm just so impressed by, but this is such a unique formula because it comes out as almost like a jelly oil formula. So it has a little bit more viscosity than just like a straight up liquid oil cleanser. And there's something really pleasing about the texture when you're removing really thick kind of waterproof eye makeup. So this is the first step of my double cleansing. I'll apply this. It does a really good job breaking down waxy formulas, waterproof formulas, foundation, really waterproof lipsticks, mascaras, and another thing I really appreciate about this is it washes away super clean. So there's no trace of that oily residue left on your skin. It makes all of the makeup wash completely away, and it actually feels clean after the first cleanse. With some of the old school oil cleansers, even after you wash your face, it still feels like a little bit oily on your skin. Not like it's like water's beating up on top of it, but just you can still feel a little bit of something where you really do need that second cleanse with a regular cleanser. But with this one, I still do the double cleanse, of course. But with this one, you don't get that kind of weird feeling. So the texture really does, I think, make a big difference. And it also doesn't make my eyes, I have really sensitive eyes, and it doesn't make my eyes feel like sore or anything when I'm using it, without any blurriness either in my vision. Such a good makeup remover. I love it so much. And then finally, my last product I wanted to talk about is a hair serum that I've really been loving this year. It's by Oribe. It's the Gold Lust Nourishing Hair Oil. A lot of times when my hair grows out to a super long extent and I haven't really been taking care of it for a while, if I'm, curling it or styling it or blow drying it, it just gets dry over time at the ends. So I'll use a little bit of this hair oil. When I put this in my hair, it makes it so soft, so nice to feel, and it really does not feel greasy at all. It just really disperses into the hair quite well, and it also smells really nice. So if you're looking for a nice hair oil just to finish off your hair after styling it without looking oily, I think it's a really great option. That is about it for this year's Holy Grails. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment down below if you want to see some of those makeup tutorials. What would you like to see specifically? If you have anything in mind, let me know. Or if you had any favorites that I didn't mention this year, I would love to hear some of your recommendations too. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!